Hi, welcome into my channel. This channel, I want to say that we can go here, we can reach here. Okay, this is my last video on Brian Greene. I will take on it on artificial intelligence and things like this. I will came back, but I go on other places on it. I took on Brian Greene because he's interviewing lots of guys. And I like to cut from the videos to exemplificate. This is the things they say, okay? This guy this time, okay?
That he's written, among which we have the book The End of Time, The Janus Point. These are wonderful treatises on the nature of time that...
In the middle of England, about 20 miles north of Oxford, in a beautiful old house built in 1659. And I read this, and then I suddenly said to myself, well, what is time? And I've never stopped since then. So for 28 years, I earned my living by translating Russian scientific journals.
If you watch that, this is the guy that I will treat today about gravity. I'm telling you that Newton is false physics. This is the Newton formula, and it is false from the beginning. There were two, Leibnizian one and the Newton formula. This is the formula. This is the Newton formula, and it is false. It's false physics. Okay. And if you watch that, you see that you see there's two bodies, M1 and M2, like this, M1 and M2, okay, like this, and they are moving in a constant, Copernicus said, constant velocity around this one around, like the moon and Earth, or the Earth around the sun, like this. You see, like this, with a constant speed over time. You constatate this another kind, like Kepler did. You see, not Newton calculated. Kepler, I'm telling you always, above the Kepler head was a cupola, like this, okay? And you can see Kepler with a sphere near him with constellations. And you have a lunette, okay, like this. And it has two wheels, like this, okay, and you put angles like this, 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, you can put like this, and one like this, you see. So in this easy manner, on the apparent sky, calculated the speeds of the planets, of Mars planet, you see, walks through here in a few days. So this, you approximate the distance, and you make some geometry. Newton did not do this, okay? But now Newton wanted to understand if you can maintain a stable orbit, like it's a perpetuum mobile, you understand? If this body makes like this always, you must explain how they are kept at a distance with the same speed. So now watch again apart from these guys, and I speak more.
And to bring in my other great hero who's influenced me hugely, which is Leibniz. And Leibniz says, if there were no variety in the world, we could do nothing. So Leibniz builds up everything from variety. And this is what's lacking. Now, my feeling is, and in fact, I would say the work that I've done with some very good collaborators, Bertotti, Karol Kuchasz, lots of the big figures in quantum gravity, what you can show is that there's a different way of arriving at general relativity where the end product is in local bits of space-time. You have Minkowski structure. That's what Einstein took. He has that there. Now, my feeling is that we should rethink general relativity, and I was able to do that with some of my very good collaborators, and say that the Minkowski thing is the final bit. It's the end product, not the starting thing. And then general relativity looks very different. So it's clear general relativity is incredibly good about describing the universe as it now is. However, I have a fairly strong suspicion it's on somewhat shaky foundations that go back to that starting point of Minkowski.
So this is what I'm telling you, okay? You see, you have this pendulum, Newton is false physics. This is the equation, and you do not have another one, okay? Some guys like to say that but other equations, this to confuse you further, okay? This F equal mass times acceleration, and this is, you put it two bodies, and you do not have another one. F equals mass times acceleration. Okay, this is Newton formula, and Leibniz formula is for kinetic energy is the same mass time velocity squared, like this, and it's false from the beginning. These two are not equivalent. So physics is false from the beginning. But now you do not have other formulas. You do not have other. This is the formulas, and they are false. This is the Newton's formula, and it is false physics. But now you see, I maintain this stable. You see, like this. There is a force in this elastic, you see, there is a force in it, and there's two bodies, M1, my hand, and M2, the body that rotates, okay? And I maintain in a constant speed. You can understand that it's a perpetual mobile, like here, you see, and you can believe that somehow Newton formulas, this is the formula, or G, M1, M2 over the radius, look. This is the Newton's formula. Isaac's old tone, and is false physics. This is false physics. Isaac old tone. So now you could trick yourself that you can maintain this in a perpetuum mobile through some equations, you see. But what's the mathematical tricks? What's the mathematical tricks that they employ? Okay, so you see, you derivate a function, you put 2, and you derivate 2 makes minus 2. It's like, let me tell you. You see, in mathematics you say you have cosinus like Leibniz did, and you make it sinus from it. Why? Because you see when you rotate something like this, you see it goes like from here. You have a circle. It goes from here and comes back here. You see. So now the mathematical tricks is to derivate it. You see, you have like cosinus, sinus, cosinus, sinus, cosinus. So now you have a function, but what makes like this? You integrate a function and you derivate it. You see this serpent stuff, this integrate this stuff like this. You integrate it on space. You see, you have a space like this, and it has a force or a kinetic energy in it. Okay. So, but let me tell you why. You see, you put a force in a pendulum like this. You go half a quarter like this, and then you see the vector change. You see, this part goes and this going to push it back. Okay. So now if you treat are 4 quarters like this, you are 4 quarters like this. You see, like this, 4 quarters. So now you understand you can do it like in a mathematical manner. Now this is going to here, and now you derivate this. Going here, you derivate it. Goes here, it's derivate. But what does this? In the physical manner, what does this? What's the force, the power does this? In a mathematical manner, it's like making magics, you see? It makes magics in numbers. What does this? What my hand does this in this case? Applies a constant force, you see? A constant force to this body. And now you can treat this as the radius from here to here, this mass 1, mass 2, and then apply a force, a constant force, you see. In this case, the force is external. You have the mass 1 being my fist, you have a body is rotate around my fist, okay, and the force is external, is is what I ate this morning to produce the force, you see. But now you understand there is a mechanical work. So I'm telling you that Newton is false. I'm telling you that all the science is false. You do not believe me. So watch another part from these guys and explain to you more.
The whole universe is like a swarm of bees all moving relative to each other, but their effect is to create what looks like a rigid framework locally, and that's your thing that you have when you're free falling. So it's how that framework of the free fall comes into existence that is the important thing. And I think we can show that's in these papers, and very important in this. People don't, I think, properly appreciate it, is the work on the initial value problem of general relativity. You can't just start calculating in general relativity. You have to have what's called solutions to the initial value problem. And that's the work that Jimmy York and his first PhD student, Niilo Murkhu, did in 1970, 71. And that, I think, is a very different way of looking at general relativity. And if I'm relying on Paul Dirac, I'm not ashamed of that.
Okay, so I've told you do not have other equation. This is the equation, look.
You see this? This is false physics. This is false gravity bullshit.
You do not have other equation. You do not have. Sorry, this Dewsbury is wrong. What you are teaching, you arrest people in schools and you make them grades. You do not have any viable criteria. And these serpents of integration, okay? So in a mathematical manner, you can do this, okay? You integrate and you derivate. Make sinus cosinus. You see? You see? Make sin derivative cosinus, like. I'm not going to tell you exactly in what manner, but is this you reverse the function somehow? You exactly from here you reverse the function. But what does this? What does this? So this is a mathematical trick. But you trick me. What does this? You must have not a mathematical trick or a spell, a magic. You see, it was here and you derivate. It was here. You see, it's a mathematical trick like magics. But what's the force? You see, here is an elastic force. You see, what's the force? What's the force that does this? And the force that does this is light, okay? And it is not produced by mass. It is not produced by mass. You see, this mass, with this mass suspended in space, does not produce any mechanical work. You see, if you put this body in space with this body in space, they will still like here. Exactly like my hand with this. You understand gravity is a mechanical work, a force done over a space, over you see, in a constant speed, okay? So when Newton lied, he pretend you can know how to maintain this at a stable orbit, you see, in a constant speed like this. He pretended that he knew how. You see, you put two forces like this body and this body, okay? Do not produce any mechanical work, do not attract, and is not due to mass. You can put two big bodies like a moon and earth. They do not attract. They will not go and fall one towards another. The mass is irrelevant. Galileo shows to you this. These bodies fall the same time with the same acceleration toward the earth. They're hooked up, and there are some 1.5 like this. 1.5 equals like the mathematical trick, 2/4 like this. See? So now, no matter what the body is, it's composed the same acceleration, 10 meters per second will fall towards the earth, see, or towards, okay. So now you have this body, this do not matter, the mass does not matter. So you suspend the earth in space and the moon in space. They will not produce any mechanical work. The moon will not start to go around the earth, you see. So this is a mathematical trick. The earth, moon and earth makes like this, and you make these derivative functions, okay, you see, like this, And you see, it happens. You see, it happens. You see, it happens. You see, like in the pendulum case. You see, any force is consumed on Earth. You see, I imprime a force, you will fall towards the words like Galileo says, not old Tom. It's like Galileo says, Galileo, within 10 meters per second. You see, and you have the circle, the law of a circle and angular momentum. You see, and it consumes the movement with acceleration 10 meters per second. Like this is the vector that on Earth that consumes movement. You see, this is a vector. You add vectors. It's consume or adds to your speed. It's a factor of consuming 10 meters per second. Your velocity will be consumed like with 10 meters per second, if you understand. You have some velocity, it is going to be consumed 10 meters per second, you see. But you do not know who does this, why it does this. You constatate all of this. So now Newton said like the moon and earth in the space like this. But the moon and earth will not produce any mechanical work. You must push the moon around. You see, I push it with a force, a constant force. You see, I push it with a constant force. So you watch another part from these guys. I'm telling you that all the science is wrong. I'm telling you that you are tricking this planet with bullshit science, with this magical science, with these magics, okay? And it is wrong. And they go with rockets on space and they are tricking you, say that from science comes what you are filming with heading a unit and make with these angles calculated the speed. And all times there was a cupola above the Kepler and we would not see the universe, only a sphere, okay? And now there's a spiral and they trick you to bullshit you, not understand how they did it in the old times, in a simple manner with two mechanisms like this, with angles. One like this and one like this, and you put this on a unit and you see 1 degree, you have 350 degrees on a circle. You can put them on, it is not going to, you do not have space, but you make it in the big, like it from 10, I don't know, on 5 degrees. You fill out 360 degrees, okay? So watch another part from these guys that I explain to you more.
And so just going back to Mach's perspective for a moment, I think many in our audience would be familiar with the thought experiment, say, of Newton's bucket, right? Newton himself described how, you know, if you have a bucket of water and you spin it, the water begins to climb up the sides of the bucket. It's very familiar. Another version of it, which is perhaps simpler to think about, if you have two masses connected by a string, and as they start to spin around their common center, the string will pull taut. And a question that Mach asked was, why does it pull taut? And his answer, as you made reference to in a slightly different context, is it's the fact that there's all this mass out there in the universe, and the spinning motion is relative to that mass that's out there, but that suggests that if you were to have a completely empty universe and something were to spin around the bucket or the masses, the water wouldn't climb up the side. The masses wouldn't pull taut because there'd be nothing with respect to which they would be spinning. And so where do you come down on that question? Einstein, at least in my reading of the general theory of relativity, and I think it's a fairly commonplace one, would say that space-time is enough of a thing to set that reference, and so the water would climb up the bucket spinning around in an otherwise empty universe. The masses would pull taut in an otherwise empty universe. That's kind of an anti-Machian idea that comes out of general relativity. Does your reformulation give a different intuition or a different answer for that?
So I'm telling you, this is the formulas, you see.
You see this? This is false physics. False physics.
This is the formulas, and you do not have another ones, and they do not function. You put it on static manner, mass 1, mass 2, okay, and radius, there's a distance between the, okay, and now a force like this, that makes them spin. But who produced them? You understand that this force is produced by the board of our galaxy. Our galaxy is a sphere and this force is light. It is light, okay? It is light. So now you can make a mathematical tricks to say, you see, sinus, cosinus, sinus, cosinus, sinus, cos, but you did not explain anything. And you have a G-force and you have mass 1, mass 2 is like a tricking, like you pull some rabbit from your hat. You see, it was in a hat. It is the hat. It is the two body and it is the hat. It is not in the hat, the rabbit. You make them to appear to be like this with these mathematical tricks, okay? So did Newton did something? Did not. Trying to see how you can maintain a stable orbit at some distance like this body not flying away, okay, and not go towards this. You are believing that somehow the Earth attracts the moon like this. That's you see that space in the ocean flux and reflux. They're down by the moon. There's tricks, okay. You do not want to understand that each planet is a motor and has a specific way of functioning, okay. You don't want to understand this. So that's why, because this implies some difference between functioning of Earth and functioning of the moon, and you do not want to explain this. You make some bullshit like this and somehow could appear. See, it could be appearing on Big Bang stuff. It could be because there are different kinds of motor, and do not want to understand because this implies something made this motor to functioning like this, and you do not want to admit God, so you'll stay stupid with Alton, Newton, and Leibniz bullshit and things like this. Still 100,000 years, and you do not understand that Elon Musk has big bodies and has a tube and fills it with some liquid that burns with fire and pushes on orbit, and even he does not understand it produces the force through fire, not the other kind. It through fire. So because the fire is somehow and it makes the force. Okay, okay.
Isaac Newton or Isaac Walton, false physics. Walton.
So this is the formulas, and you do not have others. You don't have other formulas, and I show to you, and I write them from my head, and I show to you the formulas. Look.
You see this? You see this? And Newton gravity? You see Newton? You see this? These are not equivalent, so the physics is false for the beginning. So, but you see the Newton formulas, integrate them, you see, and integrate them and make them derivatives. False physics, okay, false physics.
This is the formulas. You do not have other formulas, and they are false. And now Einstein came and made some improvement. Minkowski, like in Romanian means to lie. Minciun, like Minkowski. You see, Minciun means to lie. Like Minkowski space, Bandit space, made some. So you cannot explain it, okay? You bend space like this, you bend space like this. So, but it must fall, like it must fall in space, like some here on here must fall, and then to recuperate, yes, fall and recuperate on 4 quadrants, if you understand. So you can bend space how do you want. It is not going to. You must have like on an equator some hill like this in space, in pure space. Not even like this quarter must be in here like this to fall like this. Okay. So then something to recuperate it, and then fall in a hill and recuperate like you must bend space like this. But you bend space in this manner, you see, you will not go anywhere. Like you understand. So now you are believing and bullshitting yourself that black holes, believing that this pure mass produced emanates from gravity. So you understand it's mechanical work, and this rock does not any mechanical work. You put it here in work, some stuff with the gravity does not work anything. This does not work anything. And you suspend this being Earth and this being the Moon will not do anything. The mechanical work, if it is a rotation around the Earth, is done by a force, an external force, not emanated by mass, you see. So in this manner, Newton did not understood, try to relate it a force that you apply to a body to move it. You see, if you move it, a force like this, you apply it to a body. It is consumed, it will stop, okay? So now, how you make this force being a circular force to not be consumed, to be perpetual? You believe that he could explain how you maintain some vector? If it is two bodies with different masses, you have a vector that goes like this, and another one, they said from a Newton, goes like this, and from here the same, a vector goes like here and like here, one toward the other. You see, you have different masses. How you can make this stable? You see, there is a centripetal and centrifuge force like this. One goes in exterior, one goes in interior, and each point is opposite force. So you pretend you can make stable. It is stable here. I maintain it. I calculate in my head what is the inclination, what I maintain it stable. But if you are released, it's going to fly, okay? So can you maintain this stable by adding a force, an external force constantly? This force has to have mass in it. Force is related with mass. So now in this body must be force and mass. Force and mass between Earth and the Moon. So now if you understand, if you like that these galaxies are billion, trillion, quadrillion years, this is a mass, and it needs a force and mass on distance, on a radius. Between this and this stars must be force and mass emanated from this center, 100,000 years of emanation. When you like this much, so you understand now that you try to through gravity, not understand is light itself to pull back a light in an object, okay? Not understanding that the light itself does this. But the Moon and Earth, there's mechanisms. There's some program materials inside them that makes waters go from the land and makes the key have some energy. Makes you do not want to understand this, okay? Because the clouds are pushed in some mechanisms inside the Earth. And you do not want to admit this. You make some random stuff, but then again you want some law. Everything is but you want some law, gravity, and gravity big bangs and makes planets and makes stars and does not. Gravity service is light, and you cannot make through light to absorb light, but only like in a battery manner, because metals and everything is made with light and absorb light. So fire has light in it, absorbs light inside. A material absorbs light in them, okay? So you emanate light and you make light. With light you make, but the light does not have any mass. So it does not have any mass. So now is not a relation force between masses, mass 1, mass 2. Galileo showed you this, okay? But it has any speed over time programmed and has some energy, not kinetic energy, because kinetic energy is movement energy. This has a kinetic energy. Or when you impact it, if you stop it, okay? So Einstein will work in the first paper. I'm telling you, all the science is wrong. Watch another part from these guys, and I'll explain to you more.
I think it might. Let me say one thing about Einstein. I always say he deserves 6 or 7 Nobel Prizes, but when it comes to actually what he said about Mach, I think he made a complete and utter mess. He kept on changing. I mean, all through his life, he was changing his views on that. And at the end of his life, now, first of all, he'd spent 6 or 7 years of the best years of his life trying to implement Mach's ideas. At the end of his life, he just said it was completely wrong. A moment's thought would show that it was irrelevant once field theory had come in. I think that was all completely wrong, but that in no way takes from Einstein's greatness.
So Einstein, you can see in his papers and in public making relativity that is crazy to be understood by everybody as stupid. And he writes kinetic energy. So this means that he work with kinetic energy like this. Kinetic energy of movement energy. So you can trace this on Leibniz equation. Kinetic energy is force, and now nowadays named energy electricity the same, and you are still bullshitting each other there. You do not understand this is electricity or energy, another kind, and this is kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is like force, like impact force. You imprime a force like in this kinetic energy, like this, impacts this and goes a kinetic energy, and you relay masses between here. You see, in this manner, Thomson did not understood that light does not have mass, okay? So when he saw in a tube, glass tube like this, a jet of light bending like this, in his head must be masses to impact, to inject in. He did not understand you can bend light without any impact of masses. And so now he created the electron, he calculated the mass of this bullet light. So now these guys are talking about particles, 3 particles in a triangle, 3 particles, and this is so in inertial systems that vary there. So in this manner, you are lying that you know what time is, and you're bullshitting all your England with your universities or bullshit books. So now Einstein worked with kinetic energy of impact, and this was this crazy that he tried in the first book that you name now the partial relativity of time. What to say? It was very smart, okay? So relativity, Burberry is kinetic energy of impact like this, and he tried to make how to propagate the electricity wireless. So now he used kinetic energy of impact and was trying to explain how the electricity propagates wireless. Because it was new, and electricity is now 1060, 1600s, okay, if you know this static electricity. Otto von something made the first electrostatic motor, produce electricity in 1600, but before René Descartes even, okay. So now he worked with kinetic energy, Leibniz kinetic energy, try to understand how it propagates wireless. From these light bulbs propagate okay, and Thomson named the light electrons, okay. And now you understand that it's propagate masses like this, so light impacts you like this. Well, I hit myself for you like an idiot, okay. So you're still stupid. So okay. So you see. So we see now you are saying general relativity and partial relativity, but one of them has to deal how this light flows through the air, and some omega angle, some sinus, cosinus, like this bullshit, okay. And one of them, another one, tries to put more clear light on this improvement. These are false, and the Einstein equation is false. So the general relativity I showed to you before in my first video, I'm telling you the light makes a vibrational like a distance like this. This is a photon, and this is a photon, and the photon sees himself from the four-dimensional space. The light itself is space, and it is a four-dimensional space, not space-time. You cannot relate time with it. And this is vibrating, makes a duplicate at a distance. You see this like this, the same, and this vibrates this one and duplicates it at a distance through a four-dimensional space, not having to deal with space and time relation. Not even that it does not have a relation with mass, does not even a relation with space over time relation. It vibrates, it resonates at the distance through some principle escapes us. They're not having do not have something to deal with space over time. So if you do not believe that Einstein is false and quantum mechanics is false and all this bullshit that you are lying, quantum gravity, quantum mechanics is false itself, is made on a humbug like this. I'm telling you, science is false. It is made on this way, like this. But light describes all the geometry, all the forms. You can write my sound voice that looks like this with light on here, okay? On this CD, I broke it to understand. It's some substance, you see, and some plastic, and you register voice here and sound with light, not with electron, okay? So now you try with this handbag to make quantum gravity. I'm telling you that you are relying this planet this much. You see, there's light in this match. You see, there's no electrons. There's no electrons, and the light it is in this match, and before I release it does not have any speed, and even now does not have any speed, because it's not going to be propagated. You do not see this flame with light propagated through there. You see it, you receive it in the camera, in instant duplicate, like this. You see this, and this is duplicated in the camera. You cannot see this going like this. It's spin. You see, it's duplicated at a distance in the camera. So now you understand how Einstein is wrong. You see, there's light in here. It's a c square, AUMC square, and the other one I've told you in my previous video over c of 4 power, gravity one. That Minkowski means lies in Romania. Means lies. Minkowski, okay? So they bended space. That guy made geometry, circular geometry. When you light this much, okay, there's light in this match, and I release it. You see, and it has not any speed. And these are formulas. An Einstein formula, EUMC square, and I'm telling you that I burn them to prove to you. There is light inside this paper, and this paper falls because when you release light, the light does not have any mass, and it's absorbed by the surroundings. You see, there is light in this, you cannot deny this. There is light in this paper. You cannot deny this only if you want to light this planet in a big time, like Newton did, Orton, like Leibniz did, like Einstein did, like professing themselves to be smart, they became crazy. How the Saint Paul says in the Bible. There's a four-dimensional space, Saint Paul says in the Bible, of space, depth, okay, and the gravity, it is light, but you cannot make equations like you are understanding only in a chemistry manner, because they are programmed, and you see carbon, hydrogen implies through arrows, logical arrows, something, but its implication is not with a derivative function or a schema. You see, there is light in this paper, and I burned all the formula, Newton formulas, Einstein formulas in my previous video, and kinetic energy of Leibniz, because they are false physics. You see, light inside escapes, and it has mass only because there is a field of light, like the space itself is programmed to react somehow, and it is having like hooks, like you hook fish, you see, and he hooks the papers and he pushes it down. And the relation is like in mathematics, 1/2 equals 2/4, because all the bodies are unhooked in the same time. Galileo proved this. This small body and Leibniz knew this, and this big body fall with the same acceleration, 10 meters per second, because they are unhooked in some proportion in same manner. And there's not a relation of mass, and these were big black massive black holes you see in the center of the galaxy, and the sun that the stars that become black holes. The stars are small, they're stars like this, produce light, and through light you want to understand how to push light and to not escape. It is in the paper, it's not escaping anywhere, it's not afraid of escaping, it's in the paper, it's not afraid, and then you burn it up, it will escape, you see. It is absorbed by the surrounding environment, and it goes in all directions, is not, you see. So you understand this vector is because it's programmed, and you do not want to understand this. It's programmed in a planet, and they wanted to calculate through the speed that Kepler calculated the Mars planet, like on a sky or Venus planet, like this with angles. On a sphere, you see Kepler with a sphere near him, and then you put some angles, geometry like this, and you calculate some distances, knowing that there is some triangles in here. See, okay, and now you calculate the from the speed distance through Newton some mass, but you are wrong in this matter. So in this matter, I'm telling you, they do not know exactly what's the gravity or the speed of the falling. Only through some constatation you cannot deduce it. You can have a same body, you spin it fast, or you can with the different gravities, so the same mass will attract you different at the surface. You will fall in different manner, and you lie like this, like Russian light, that is on Venus planets at 50,000 billion trillion degrees. Okay, there is not. And you interdict this plain real science. You go on Harvard, Cambridge, and Vienna, and like this interpretation, because I know this stuff on Holland, and we give Nobel Prizes. Who do you want? On crazy, like Thomson make on the electron. It's now you are believing it's electrons and protons in the rock, and with the planetary model that is force from Newton, you sustain electrons rotating, not falling towards the proton with false physics like this, like sinus, cosinus, sinus, cosinus, sinus, with some magic, pull a rabbit from your ass, okay? And now the electron appear, neutron appear, okay? So now you can see clearly some change in color in some liquids. You make some liquids. You see light, okay? You see light when you burn gases, carbon, hydrogen, 4 with oxygen. You see light, you see fire, but you see there is electron. So the equation is equilibrated electron, carbon, hydrogen, 4 with electrons, with oxygen, and but you see light when you burn it, okay? But it doesn't matter that all your gas from your stove goes light, okay, and fire doesn't matter, it's the electron. So when you light this much, so I'm telling you the chemistry is wrong in this manner. I will tell you supplementary stuff. You see, this as Avogadro stuff is wrong, isolated them by mass in molecules. The molecules are made with light and are programmed, and there's no ions like you are understanding. The light flows and does has a direction, minus plus. You see, there's no electron and proton. Light goes from minus plus. Is the minus. Okay, the light itself. The light can attract like in magnetical manner, can reject exactly like magnetical manner when they hit through some kind of different trajectory of light. And the light duplicates itself in exact manner. You see this in your camera, in your eyes. It duplicates the object at the distance light makes many things, but it's programmed and the planets are programmed, and you do not want to understand this because you must admit a programmer, a mind, you see. The stars are small, they are not making flames, they are not like our sun. These clouds, the border of our galaxy, produce light. The stars are alimentated exactly like this in a field. Like you must have some frequency of light, like 220 volts to produce light in some manner. And if you have a different kind of wiring, different kind of voltage, like 12 volts to produce light. So you understand there's different voltages here and some different kind of materials, and there could be stars small like this. You can put it in your pocket and they're lying. This is star. This is a star, and we can go here and we cannot see the universe, and this Big Bang equilibrated big ball on gravity that you gravity sinus minus, like you're pulling rubbish from the rest and your heads. And we can go to the stars. The stars are small. Maybe you cannot find few stars bigger than the sun, but maybe they are. But maybe they are, but do not emit flames. You can go on a star with a ship. Okay, a planet itself means a wandering star, and it is not a difference. You see, you name it star like fish, and the Bible names the stars. This difference is a Greek difference. A planet means wandering star. Okay, and like fish, some weird fish, they give birth, like you see, and the fish. The God said that they made the fish. You are understanding some amphibian like orcas or like okay, they go on land, and they're still fish named by the Bible. So this is a star. If you understand the cumulus, we can go here. I'm telling you, we can go to the stars, man. And these guys are lying to you, and they arrest you in schools and make them on universities with false science made by the Mendeleev, Avogadro, and all these guys that were lying this planet, and you do not understand what they are saying, and you kiss their ass just because. You see, Einstein, big Einstein, we can go here, man. There's hundreds of satellites. This is a star if you want. This is a star, emits light somehow. Okay, and so, but it's made from water and has this is what I'm telling you. They are lying to you that the gravity increases to mass, and you cannot go here. Or I will pick them after this video. But you see mechanisms. You see always these clouds make like this. Like on equator, and some you see the earth climate does not make like this. So this is a programmed planet to do like this. And if you watch carefully, nowadays there are pictures on NASA. You can see the color of water. This planet is lying to you that is made from gases, hydrogen gases, and this planet is made of water. And around there are 4 satellites, big satellites discovered by Galileo Galilei. And Galileo said this does not have a mass and a relation space over time. And he observed Io, Callisto, and Ganymede make like these cycles around the planet, and you can make it temporal, like appears now, disappears, appear now. You make temporal, like a speed, temporal speed. And you do not know what's the gravity on the surface of this planet. You can go with a book. They say it's 11 times bigger than the Earth or something like this, but you cannot know it because the gravity is programmed. The material water itself can absorb and emit more light. You can program water to absorb or emit different quantity of light. So even though it's pure water, although I believe that has some core, some continents like like this, you understand it's a motor, and the light comes from these clouds, or the border of our galaxy is surrounded by clouds like this, and converges the planet, and the planet absorbs them the light and makes some climates like this. You see, it makes the planet says is a motor and spins the clouds like this on the equator like this. On Earth there are 4 winds that go another kind. There are 4 winds on the North Pole and South Pole, are 4 different winds like this. So the Earth receives this light and makes another stuff with it. You do not know that the Earth can be covered with it says a motor that push waters from the land. So these clouds is our galaxy is a sphere and emit towards the stars, and in the center towards the sun and the planets, a light field. And this light field is having different tonalities. One of them is the microwave background radiation, is converges in the planet. The planets itself are programmed. The gravity is not due to simple mass like this to be emitted. It makes a mechanical work. This cloud makes a mechanical work like this, and it's not due to a simple mass. If you put a mass and makes to circulate like this, the clouds around the mass does not. In the same manner, the satellite Callisto and Ganymede do not circulate around the Jupiter planet because there's some gravity between force. There's a 1,000 satellites, 1,000 types of forces. You can make them with this mass 1, mass 2 to maintain it stable around the Jupiter planet. You cannot. 1,000 satellites has 100, maybe more. It has like this and like this. L orbit, okay? You do not understand how Elon Musk goes and puts his satellites on orbit. Has this big rocket with fire, and in approximately manner believing with belief that it will stay on spin around the Earth. You go it, you push it, you calculate the distance how you are pushing it, and you let it there. And you can see that in approximate manner after 10 minutes you ignite the motors and see 9 minutes, because it doesn't matter. Like Solomon in the Bible says, God put he had a fleet with ships on a sea. On sea put somebody doesn't. This is a wrote in the Bible. Does not have any brain to find his way on the sea. The same matter now solar system. There's some currents. Now he pushes it. You do not believe. They go and put this around and have 4 motors or directional orientated like this with some fire or some stuff, and go like in lunar like this, cross and a circle towards like an optical manner, how Von Braun said, towards the moon like this in an optical manner. Your believer science did something. So these are motors, and you do not want to believe this because this implies a rationality, changing frequency of light. You see, I change frequency of light. And in this manner you understand this, so programs to make some climate, some flowing of winds, and you cannot sustain around this body with this force. You do not have any equation. With this mass 1, mass 2, 100 different types of like one of them orbits like this, one in reverse, one like this. You cannot obtain this bending space or with these lights, okay? We can go to the planets, Uranus planets, 100 satellites, and Jupiter and Saturn planet and Mars planet. They saw asteroids, 100,000 millions of asteroids. Like it was named star by the Bible, even though they named star. The name of the Bible is stars. In a general manner, like fish, okay? So this is a star, if you understand, and we cannot see the galaxy. And these guys are teaching you these integrated functions that do not mean anything. Do not mean anything, and you kiss your kiss their asses for nothing. And they make grades how they want, because there's no coherent passing principle here. You only if you recite like in an image like time manner. What is this image? This image is blue. Okay, 6 if he wants. If he's not, it does not. They like to steal the gases from the ground and make that formula: carbon, hydrogen 4, carbon, hydrogen, butane, ethane, methane, like this. And you do not understand their lives. three double connection like this, triple connection and four connection with ions and stuff. I'm telling you, science is bullshit and you do not believe me. We can go to the stars, man. What I'm telling you, to these clouds you can go now current day with ships, and you are blocked by this that guys that pretend themselves and profess themselves to be like for science and knowledge, and the religion is bad. Science have sense, and they say crazy science for this from these times of Dalton and Leibniz stone. Okay, that the two equation from the beginning wrong, and I'm telling you, we can go here. We can go here, we can colonize this planet. You can go with a ship here, with a boat, like this could be winds to push it with like vela, like that, like vela stuff. Okay, and you know that there's a constant manner like this, some winds, and they are saying 100 billion trillion kilometers burning big mass in something that you cannot do it. As you're going to die if you go here. You cannot reach this stars a billion years ago. You cannot, it's old time, a trillion years. You cannot, you can understand this serpent integrated function of them, and cosinus makes sinus like this, you see? Cosinus, sinus. So it's science, okay? This matter, Einstein, and all of them, and quantum mechanics, and I'm telling you the truth, and you do not want to listen to me, okay? So I don't know why. But meanwhile, these guys put another the universe inside a black hole inside your asshole, a black hole, a small black hole, and things like this, and you do not want to understand the truth. But if somebody asks you how this sinus makes cosinus, and but Newton said like this, how like this. And when you make like this, you go in space and big grades, and you have a house at Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, and Princeton, and all this bullshit university. You do not understand that from 1900s they give Nobel Prizes to crazy guys. You do not understand this. You do not understand. Why? Because you have this. You believe this was came from science. You believe that what are filming with, or television or radio came to science. You believe that Russian guy made 1820 the telegraph is actually current transmission. If you do not understand, and electricity was known in 1600s. And 1060, if you know, okay, the 1600s, but Otto von made the first static electricity producing, like with the wheel, like here, like this, spinning, it produced electricity. Okay, so now these guys could lie that quantum mechanics makes what? Quantum mechanics, the transistor, what came from science? Nothing. I'm telling you, science only lies and makes you antagonist towards the religion and God, and they do not let you to go here pretending by there some ideologies. So from Carl Sagan, we are stardust, we are bullshit, like shit from bad angels, and you regurgitate and you eat it again, and you regurgitate and you vomit it and you eat it again. This star is close. We can go here, and I'm telling you, this is a simple star, and we can go here with Elon Musk ships. And if you do not believe this, you see, we will go nowhere. Okay? Sinus makes cosinus through integrated on space. Like it tends to zero, all the sum of your stupidity, so then the light rejects anti-gravity, producing a small black hole inside it is two universes, a parallel and a wormhole. And Einstein-Podolsky, Lane-Podolsky bridge, okay? So goodbye, God bless, I'm telling you science is wrong, and you are like this planet enough. Goodbye, like, share and subscribe. Help me, this channel must be found out. Understand what I'm telling to you. Okay, goodbye. God bless.
You see this? Leibniz bullshit. You see? False physics.